when I was in the States, I didn't really, the question of my identity wasn't as, it just became something in my background. I didn't think about it on a daily basis, but in coming back to Japan as an adult, it really kind of, I don't know, a wake-up call, but just like, it just became so apparent that, that being half Japanese was really going to impact my life here. I mean, there's so many reasons, like, when I think about it, why I wanted to make this film, but one is that I just thought there was a lack of media on the subject, and a lack of well-made, well-produced content that can be, like, really absorbed by, like, the general public. And I think that's kind of what I wanted these stories, the experience of Hafu's, to be seen and understood by as many people as possible. And so I wanted to set out to make a documentary that was, you know, kind of, in some ways, very standard broadcastable, you know, not too, like, experimental or too artsy or too kind of, self-explorative. Something that, like, really, you could see on television, and that way you could kind of reach the masses. When we had a preview event, our first preview event was a year ago, and I just got, I think, quite overwhelmed emotionally. It felt so right to be telling these stories, and that, and maybe what was great about it, and it ties into this other part, is that the preview event, this first one we had, which was in Tokyo, over, like, almost 150 people showed up for it.
Wow.
And it just really shows that people want their stories to be told.
Yeah.
And and so as a result, they've come out and supported us. And we really wouldn't have gotten as far as we have without that support. And so it's kind of this desire, this inner desire to really express ourselves and to be heard, I guess. And it's not just the individuals who participated in our film, but also the people who want to watch it and the people who, you know, volunteer with us. The overall community that's kind of growing around it, I think that's what really moves me.
Yeah. Seeing all the support that you get from people who want to watch the film is the most touching thing, I guess. I agree with Megumi. Like, in the beginning, when we just started our website and we started receiving all these emails, or, like, when we just started our fan page on Facebook and started seeing, oh my God, there's, like, we have like 500 fans now, and then, like, a month later we have 2,000. We're like, oh my God.
And even now, like, you walk past, like, you know, a bunch of school kids, and they're like, gaijin-da, you know, they're just like, you know, gossiping among themselves. They're, like, you know, embarrassed and giggling and that kind of thing. I have lived, you know, a little less than half of my life in Japan, but, like, it's where I was born, and I was raised the majority as a child here. And so I feel very comfortable here. This is my home, and I feel very comfortable with Japanese people. When I see them, I feel this is my environment. But then I realize when they look at me, they don't consider me part of their environment. And I think that's always the challenge that I face, that I feel automatically like a sense of, Japanese, yes, I feel this connection. But from their perspective, they're like, who is this non-Japanese person? And why are they trying to be in my space?
One in every 30 babies has at least one parent that's not Japanese. So, like, there's no, like, raw, like, exact data on how many Hafus live in Japan, because they're registered either as foreigners or Japanese nationals. Right?
Really?
So
there's no race.
There's no race. Like,
they don't take any demographics.
So they have to pick one.
Yep.
Okay.
Basically, or have both. I don't know.
It wouldn't be clear to us how they would be registered,
Mm-hmm.
and it also doesn't account for that demographic doesn't account for people who are half Japanese that live outside of Japan either.
Exactly.
So there could be many more. I mean, I'm having some Japanese friends that are living in the U.S. now, having half Japanese babies, and you know, I doubt that they're being counted. And you know, it's kind of So it's just that statistic is based on the nationality of the parents. But it's like a daily experience where we see people on the street who we identify as being half Japanese.
Yeah, we'll be like, oh, he's a Hafu. Oh, she's a Hafu.
Yeah, we'll see like, families with their kids, and it just like, it's every day, really, almost. And so I guess it's just, to us, it's so obvious. So we want to kind of make it obvious for other people as well.
Yeah. My first language is Spanish. Mm-hmm. I grew up most of my life in Spain. And I guess my second language would be English. And my third right now is Japanese. But it used to be all different. When I was a baby, it was Japanese first. And then I was forced to learn English because I went to I was in the States and went to kindergarten there. And then I hardly spoke any Spanish. So I learned Spanish when I was 6, just before my family moved to Spain.
Oh, that's lucky then.
Yeah, so when I went to Spain, that's when my Spanish picked up, but I almost lost my Japanese. So my mom had to put us into Saturday school.
I think we were really concerned about also the fundraising aspect.
Yeah.
Because we thought, all the money should really go towards the Tohoku rebuilding efforts. And we had originally planned a fundraiser from the beginning of the year in January to happen in April. And at first, when the earthquake happened, we were like, oh, let's just cancel it. And then we thought, well, maybe through our film we can support the area. And so we teamed up with an NPO that's doing relief work there, and we did a joint fundraiser where half of the money went to the relief efforts. But we also found in doing that fundraiser, there were actually some people who came up to us afterwards and were like, actually, we want to give this money just to the production of the film. And to us, that shows that even in these difficult times, there are people who really do want to see this film completed and are willing to support us on top of what they've given to the relief efforts already. Thank you to everybody who supported us.
Yeah, and it's wonderful to have interest from all over the world, not only Japan. It's great to be able to participate and collaborate with others who are doing things that are similar, because that's something that we wanted to start a dialogue from the start. And so I'm really happy to see that this is kind of going the right way that we were sort of focusing. So
for anybody who's interested in, exploring their own identity through, the written word or through some art piece, just to go for it and not be scared of, rejection or somebody criticizing it or anything like that, to just kind of not be afraid of, holding yourself back, and really do express yourself.
And I think people are really, really interested. In the end, they're really, really interested to hear stories that they never would have thought, heard of before, if these people wouldn't come out and talk about them. So I think it's really important to let the world know your experience.